was languages. I could do it outside of the classroom. I got a lot of positive reinforcement from my teacher. And, sometimes you get the chills and the signs that this could be your destiny. And so plus the girls were cute too that spoke Spanish. So I had extra game there, Steve. And,
Oh,
I
absolutely.
just putting everything together, doubled down in college, made it my major. And the next thing you know, when I moved to Costa Rica at 27, I was more than ready.
What was that trip to Spain that you made, which kind of changed you? You backpacked around Europe and you read like a 1,200-page book.
Best year of my life, without a
Wow.
doubt. I was 21 at the time. I had a Vespa scooter. I lived in Spain for 9 months and toured Europe for two. During Christmas break, I didn't go home. Most people go to Europe or study abroad for a semester. I took a full year. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I know that if I was in the deep end, I'd learn how to swim. And you know what the change was? You're 21 at the time. You could drink in the United States, but in Europe it's a lot younger. And with the youth hostels and the Eurail pass, and no one had cell phones at the time, it was collect calls back home or a postcard. That was awesome. But you know what really did it? You can party all you want and meet people and have fun, but I always wanted to see the church, the museum, the ruins, that adventure. And a lot of people would punk out, they'd sleep in, they would, but sometimes you got to do it alone. And I really went above and beyond to educate myself in humanities. And that 1,234 page book, Anthony Adverse, yeah, that was given to me as a present. And I said, man, I got to finish this thing. And so, the best year of my life, period. And I owe a lot of who I am today with that transformative year that I took.
Which countries did you visit?
Well, once again, I was in Spain, so just count everything there. I was in Portugal. I went to Northern Africa and Tangier. Plus, when you're running around, Andorra is on the border of Spain and France. So I was there. France, of course. Italy and Greece. Then you go through your Belgium and your Germany. I went up there through Amsterdam as well. That was a lot of fun. And then, Czechoslovakia was beautiful. Prague is one of the most incredible places you can see. And that was pretty much my travels, just running around Europe for those couple months. Yeah, Switzerland was fun too. I had a friend that I studied with in Spain, so I went to his house in Basel, Switzerland, and he lived on a farm. And this guy showed up like 2 days late. So their family picked me up at the train station in Bennigan, brought me to this farm. They couldn't speak English. I couldn't speak whatever language they were speaking. But I tell you what, I could make cookies in the kitchen with the mother, and I could go on the farm and clean out the stalls with the hands. And I earned my keep. And it was just so I'm going to say it again, one of the greatest experiences of my entire life.
And then you were an intern at Telemundo in Arizona.
That is correct. A lot of people in college, depending on how many years they want to go, they take a certain amount of classes and credits. And so I did the 5-year plan for multiple reasons, Steve. A, I was paying in-state tuition and it was next to nothing. The cost of living in Tucson was not expensive either. And so I think I was being responsible with my parents' money. Now, I also had generous parents, so I didn't have to really work in college. So I had this extra time. And so I volunteered for Casa de los Niños and raised money. I interned for Telemundo for 2 years. But here's the deal, since I am a closer and you complimented me earlier. If I'm going to volunteer my time, I'm not just going to go get coffee for Billy and Tommy and Joey. I kind of want some good experience. I don't want to be a clerk. So they said, Richard, what do you want to do? Jay Cohen asked me this, and thank him very much for giving me this opportunity. I said, I'd like to do promotions and public relations. I want to put on a cool Telemundo shirt and run around Tucson and pretend like I'm important. And so, yeah, we used to go to Tucson Toro games and Javelina Cantina chili eating contests and all around U of A for their events. And, you know who I met, which was really cool? I met Miguel Quintana, who was the newscaster out in Los Angeles, which is the largest market. And then there was a gentleman by the name of Pedro Sevsek, and he had a talk show in Miami across from Christine that was from Univision. I tell you what did I learn? When these guys came to Tucson, they got a hero's welcome. And they were the most generous. Naturally, it's a Latino community, so there are certain things in their culture which is very affectionate. But I learned about being humble and taking your time and taking photographs and answering questions. And these guys could have brushed everyone off and played hi-hat, but no. These were incredible mentors to me, and they pulled me aside and said, Richie, you got something going, stick with this. I'm like, stick with what? I'm 21 at the time. I had no idea what I was doing, but these are wonderful people along the way, Steve, that will balance your bike and say, go, 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 and let you know that you are on the right path. And so what a wonderful experience that was in college. Oh, by the way, I also worked for a company called LA Ski and Sun Tours, where I used to sell ski trips to Reno and Mazatlan spring break trips. You have to do that in college, so I didn't have the money, so I could go for free. But then again, you get to sell these things. You know how much fun those trips were too? Oy, we had good times in the 90s.
So you were doing sales when you worked for Telemundo, because public relations is sales. You're selling yourself.
You have to be presentable.
Yeah.
You got to have a right way to deliver a message. And, I tell you what, those that are book smart can only go so far. It's really knowing when to smile and to ask that follow-up question, or remembering small details about people compared to others. That's how you get the account, or the people that remember your name. And so, yes, my friend, these were certain things that would build your self-confidence and self-reliance, make you a much more well-rounded individual. Mm-hmm.
Well, the hard part is actually at the end, when you're closing, reaching into the customer's pocket to take the money. That's the hard part, closing.
Nice, Steve. How many movies have you watched? What are you going to refer to, The Wolf of Wall Street or Boiler Room or Glengarry Glen Ross, where coffee's for closers? Listen, the greatest philosophy that I ever had that allowed me to be balanced was from an educated point of view. The client makes a decision. Sure, Steve, I could force your hand and twist your arm and sell you something you don't need, but that's a one and a done. That's not a long-term client. You're not going to get referrals from that. And at the end of the day, you're probably not going to feel good about yourself unless you don't have a soul. And let's use my industry for an example. I'm a near-shore bilingual call center in Costa Rica. Everyone knows about outsourcing and telemarketing. But I compete against offshore centers in India and Philippines that are half my price. So I can go through 15 rounds of this fight, answer every question. You're going to love me to death, but a lot of it is price sensitive. And so as a consultant, I believe in me today, you tomorrow. I will ask certain questions so I can work backwards. I ask metric questions. How many calls can you do an hour? I can do 10 on a 5-minute talk time and some wrap up. Well, I can't do 20 because I'm, double your price. You have to be realistic. But on the flip side, if it's not inbound support, but it's outbound prospecting, sales, and conversions, sometimes on merit, you can offset those prices. So instead of making 100 phone calls a day, I'm sitting next to some guy doing 50. But his talk time is 8 minutes compared to 3, and he's converting 10 times the amount from other people. So leave that artist alone. It's not that difficult, my friend. Look at the sort of podcast you have, the guests that come on there. I reached out to you because you seem like a great guy. And so sometimes when you say sales, I just say it is relationship building. Things, if you want to look at the legalities behind it, sure, you're exchanging money, might be signing a contract and having certain agreements. But at the end of the day, it is that spit handshake, and you're looking at someone in the eye, and I'm hoping to God that Steve picks me up at 6 a.m. so I can make my flight. And a lot of it is depending on that individual and having that faith and making yourself vulnerable. And you can almost tell, because someone's lack of preparation shouldn't be my emergency. Or let's just say you call me on a Friday and go, Richie, I need 10 people by Monday. Brother, how am I going to get you 10 people by Monday? I mean, the ads got to go out. I got to interview them. I mean, come on. I mean, let's be realistic. Don't make me uncomfortable. And so when you want to talk about sales, let's talk about level playing fields and everybody having something on the table. That's usually when people don't feel funky and things can move forward.
I also noticed that you invest in your employees too. That coming of age moment you mentioned in one of your interviews.
Of course. Listen, you have a lot of people coming in for jobs. They will sing you the world. And when they fill out their information, the adjectives, in regards to loyalty, fidelity, commitment, hard working, da 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 da. When can I be a manager? When can you be a manager? I'm from the 80s and 70s. You got to earn your stripes. You got to step up to the plate. And so for me, I don't like fast talkers. I like people that are bold and brave and have some moxie. But man, if you're not showing up on time and if you're not coachable and you seem like a cancer or a jumper or a disruptor, you're really not the right guy. I'll take a Dennis Rodman. He was the rebound king and he was a great guy on and off the court. You just got to learn how to control the stallion a little bit, see, so it can run a little bit faster. And so I like people that have rebel in them because you and I were rebels. We broke a window or two back in the day, but we also learned how to fix them and clean them. So that's about maturity and growing up. But I prefer to have individuals that have never worked at a call center before, but if they're coming into a call center at 18 or 20 years old, bilingual, to me, it bears the mark of higher education, structure, discipline, and cognitive skills. No bad habits. I can mold them like a squire to a knight. But here's the secret. You brought it up. Turn your paper over, Steve. Give me a couple paragraphs of that coming of age moment. Yeah, I can clarify it for you. I'd like to know when you beat up a bully, or when you saved a kitten, or you did both in one day. Why? Because Steve is going to ask you a zig and zag question. And if you're not loosey-goosey, you're going to get target paralysis. And he's got 10 people in front of him, very similar contracts and business relationships. But he wants to know who he can get along with the best, who can show character during chaos, no surprises, be able just to work with you in a very authentic way. And so maybe a lot of my style is unorthodox. A lot of people are just very cut and dry and black and white and cold. Not me. This is a 1 in a million shot. I got very lucky doing this. And so you're dealing with, like, do you remember the movie Slapshot? Remember with the Charleston Chiefs? Well, anyway, I'm like Reggie. I'm like Paul Newman. I'm a coach, but I'm also a player. I'm very hands-on. I think the best leaders and the best generals are the ones that earn the respect of their people, because my leverage is only my people. If they all leave, I go out of business. So I have to do something right to keep that cage open to have the beautiful bird come back. It's a lot deeper than just money, man, because some people are looking for that sort of experience to get them to the next level. Or maybe you and I, Steve, have the moment to shatter any sort of misconceptions of what a bad boss or a CEO could be.
Yeah, I think it's what you do is you motivate them. And you remind me of the dead Mickey in the Rocky movies when the ghost comes back and says, get up and fight that son of a bitch. You know, when they're down and they can't make the sales, you motivate them. You lift their spirits up.
You're damn right. And do you remember that one Rocky movie when Rocky was back there trying to clean up the spit and wipe the floors?
Rocky 2.
Whatever one it was. All I know is that Mickey says, you can't be here and be doing this. People lose respect for you on that. And I agreed with him too. There's certain ways to earn money, but you can't lose your dignity, especially at the place that you started. I mean, that place is sacred for you. And you know, Mickey moved in with Rocky. That's part of the family. Adrian loved him. We all loved Mickey. You know why we loved Mickey? Because if you look at the first one and you look on the wall, you see the black and white of Mickey as a lightweight. Mickey was a fighter. All right, so Mickey stepped up. He just wasn't a guy writing checks and balking orders. This was a man that went through his time and did it. And so he's paying it forward, and I love people like that. I love old warriors and gladiators. What, are you going to tell me you batted 1,000? No one bats 1,000. But if you're telling me certain stories of when you did get back up, you know, it's so interesting, these Rocky movies. I mean, the first one was the most incredible of anything. It's just the long shot. It was Chuck Wepner. You know, the big teen bleeder, you know, out of Jersey, this Marine who actually went the distance against Ali back in the 70s. Oh, my man, 15 rounds Chuck Wepner went. And so do you judge the person on coming out of that fight beautiful or every rib broken, bleeding, can barely see? That's life. And Chuck, as I mentioned before, I mean, he did get knocked down with a couple seconds left in the 15th. It's not the point. The point is that this man took it all and gave it all. And life's weird like that. When you're by yourself, Steve, and you have your moments of clarity, what do you say to yourself? You were mentioning Rocky, get back up. I think of my friends back in Philadelphia saying, come on, Richie, come on. Keep going. Give me my Abington pride. Each one of us has our spark that we use. And so I agree with you 100%, my brother. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, because being experienced from and having been fired from several telemarketing jobs.
Yeah. Oh, the walk of shame on the floor, right? Allow me to ask, what were you selling?
I went several of them in the early 90s before caller ID, chemicals over the phone to farmers, Dial America marketing, appointments for oil companies, chimney companies, magazine subscriptions, who's who in America.
My, you did your rounds. I definitely would have hired you, but I had to maybe decompress and debrief you. Who knows what sort of managers were motivating you. I tell you what, at least, and you'll respect and understand this, I believe in romantic deaths and jumping clouds. Forget the body and conclusion. That doesn't exist, but you can land an intro, regardless of where it goes, like in your Choose Your Own Adventure. You know, I would say, Steve K's Variety Show, how are you today? I'd say that when you picked up the phone. Why? It's anonymity. It's a company name spike. What I can do is I can get the gatekeeper out of that trance. And then you can also gauge on phonetic reading a positive or a negative reinforcement. Like for an example, if I call, hey, is Steve there? Is this a salesman? Why are you calling? Take me off your list. F you, don't call again. Compared to Steve K's Variety Show, how are you today? I could sound like your best client. So Judy, who's picking up the phone, is like, whoa, okay, good morning. Who is this? Alrighty, I got past the first Indiana Jones thing. So now I'll say, oh, hey, Judy, my name is Richard Blank. And then, once again, it depends on how I said it. She can say, okay, Mr. Blank, why are you calling? Compared to, is this a sale? Once again, sales call, don't call again. How'd you get my name? I got through the first two stages. Company name spike to snap you out of it. First, my name to see if you like my name. And then when you ask me my name, I use what we call buffer boomerang technique. Richard Blank, what company are you with? Judy, that's an excellent question. The name of my company, Costa Rica Call Center. So I can readjust tones. And then I'll play my odds. And then I'll play my odds. So at least anything, por lo menos, at least, I can jump 100 to 200 clouds a day of saying the name of your company, name dropping you twice, saying my name and company, gauging reactions, and giving myself a real college chance. So it just doesn't go from half court or even 3-quart. Now we're doing foul shot percentages. And at least it's fun enough where you have one speaking line in this call before they kill you. At least I said, Judy, you're the greatest today. It was really nice meeting you. Click. but don't be surprised if I don't get the pass to pitch. So then Judy says, of course I'll transfer you to Steve. Oh, Judy, before you go, I just want to let you know you were great. So I get transferred to Steve. Hi, this is Steve, who no one ever gets through. Hey, Steve, I just got to let you know Judy's great. I didn't do the company name spike. I know it's your company. I did the positive escalation. I spoke about Judy or whoever else transferred me to you. And you have no idea who I am. And then you're going to go, oh, yeah, she's the greatest. She's been with us for 10 years. Of course she's been with you for 10 years. Who is this? Come on, man, you're not hanging up with me. This is Richard Blank. Who is Richard Blank? Steve, that's a great question. Name of my company, goes to Ricas Call Center. And there we go again. So what's happening? And as I mentioned, the metrics move. My talk time increases. The amount of calls a day decrease. My conversion ratio goes up. And I'm also building a pipeline because Steve might not have time today, but ask for a call next Thursday. So what happens is if you start prospecting over a period of time, it's not 80% outbound, 20% callback. It actually goes to a reverse depending on how large your list is. So now you're prospecting 20% a day, filling the spaces of all the callbacks that are coming in and conversions that are there. And it's just a beautiful way to build a long-term business. It works. It keeps the morale high for the team.
You kind of constantly got to do a job on your head. You got to brainwash yourself because it's easy to get down.
Well, listen, if I researched you before the podcast today, you're like the coolest and funniest guy. Can't you get excited for something? Isn't anticipation one of the greatest drugs? It's a breath of fresh air. So with a little bit of due diligence, nothing crazy, but just a LinkedIn profile, Facebook, I could leave the voicemail, send the custom-made email, or when I get you on the phone, we can talk about 2 or 3 things that we can anchor and have in common so it could reduce that stress that you're saying you keep having with making these calls. My man, who taught you how to make these calls? You need to be a brave warrior when you go out there. It's about the armor, the shield, and the sword. And if you are properly disciplined and well-versed, play your odds and play the game. In fact, even by default, if you do not get the business, the people will still thank you for your time. And don't be surprised 5 months from now, Steve gets a call from my best friend saying, hey, you spoke to Rich Blank the other day. He says you're the greatest. Even though he doesn't need ice cream, he says you're the man. And the next thing you know, you're on the 10-yard line, ready to put the ball in the end zone. And so great business through referrals. You never know what seeds you're planting. And don't underestimate anybody. Iceberg galore. Well, don't hard sell anybody today. It might not be the right day for them to move forward with you. And so if you have that sort of pressure in the work environment, you might not be in the right environment because it's going to burn out the engine. It's going to put you off. And if you have the pressure to only close on that one time and you can't call Steve, for an example, we messed up the times a little bit this morning on the podcast. An hour here, an hour there, but we still communicated, got on, was respectful, no one yelled. I even wrote you, I'm so happy to see you today. And so that's what business does. They get second and sometimes even third chances to make it right if the intentions are good. And so, yeah, Steve, you're the man. It's obviously, it was only going to make this event better because we both made additional efforts to get here. And so I like that sort of stuff.
We were flexible, but I know I could have been rigid and just snapped, but, I was flexible. All right, let me check my email. Maybe he's available now.
Do you know how many people would have taken it personal saying, yo, man, what's wrong with Steve? Or, he disrespects my time. Or who does this guy think he is? And so why would you even think like that? Things happen. I'm in Costa Rica. Things really happen. And so I've had some people misinterpret things, or that's okay. Don't judge me on what happened with somebody else. Things happen. And so, but no, my man, you and I definitely figured out a way to work like a team, make it happen.
Absolutely. And I also like your business ethics too, your cash-only principle. You don't extend yourself on credit. You buy used. Very, very smart, frugal thinking.
That's what Grandma and Grandpa taught me. They came over to the United States from Eastern Europe, went to New York City in the garment industry, learned English, made our money during the Depression. So anyway, when it came to my arguments of moving abroad and starting a business, I just referred to them. But why? I don't know. It's how I was raised. My family was comfortable, but we were never... I didn't say we acted our wage, but we could always afford because we never overextended. I kind of understood it, and we were always proud to have savings for rainy days. And so for me, I kind of liked the deal where initially when I started, I could rent a turnkey station at an internet cafe kind of. So I could it's like renting a seat on an airplane compared to buying an airplane. And so was it glorious? No. But it worked. I could get people there, the lights, and I could just scale accordingly. I did that for 2 years, but that was the grind, And then I rented space. And in my industry, a lot of people will sell Dell computers and servers and switches. Certain things I bought brand new, in the server room that needed to be. But don't kid yourself. I mean, it's very easy to purchase used Dells. And why? Because in Costa Rica, there's an 80% import tax. Something for $1 is $1.80. Why would you do that? And when you buy it used, you can get it for like 50 cents. So I was smart that way. And I could once again scale row by row, half a dozen or a dozen at a time. So I could always get that done. And it worked. And then after 6 years of having the capital and the steady clients, then I decided to purchase a building, put on a 3rd floor, and deck it out. And so it's the tortoise, not the hare. You're talking about a man that's in business for 18 years. And as much as I would love to say I did this in 18 months and have that real story and bragging of just holding on tight while the rocket goes off, I wish. But I tell you what, the fact that I was getting a drip at a time and was still filling up my bottles and surviving and growing, you got to be kidding me. I would have given my left arm for this 19 years ago. So why today am I bitching that I'm not 10 times the size. Listen, you choose your own adventure and your own story. And as much as I could have and wanted certain networking and connections, a lot of the times you got to put your own money down. No one was giving me money to start a center here. And my family was freaking out because they didn't understand it. None of my friends could give me advice on it. So imagine doing that. But it really makes life exceptionally thrilling. So yes, my friend, I was extremely conservative in the beginning.
And first you had to learn the business. Your friend had asked you to come and work for him in the call center initially?
More of like a timeout. I was 27 at the time, in between jobs, sending out my resume via fax machine, hoping to get hired somewhere in Tempe. I'm going to be miserable. No. And so my cousin Joe came to visit me in Scottsdale and says, hey, Ricardo, listen, a good friend of ours in college has a call center in Costa Rica. Why don't you come down for 2 months and teach English and take a time out? And so I said, okay, I'll do that. So, I still had an apartment in Scottsdale, furniture and everything. And so I went down there for 2 months and decided to stay. And that was an interesting phone call home to put everything in storage. But I fell in love with my future wife. But I learned the business from the inside out. I did nothing at sea level. I learned every department from retention to sales, customer support, onboarding, human resources. I did an enormous amount of training. And so a lot of people say, I might have made more money during those years in the United States selling real estate or something, but the little bit that I was making there, it's almost like intern money. I was having the best time of my life. But that experience from the inside out, working with the agents, was exactly what I needed when I started the company. But I didn't have the time to go to Cisco school. I didn't have the time to learn the laws or even be human resources director. I had to hire specialists to surround my trunk of the tree, the branches and the roots. Did it cut corners? If you can afford it, yeah, hire an expert. It's almost like when they say, if you can afford it, hire someone to help you clean your house. Why? Because you don't want to spend a Saturday for 6 hours doing it. And so every time I could afford a specialist in my company, I did it, because it freed up the time for me to do what I do best. And but no, my wife was carrying the majority of the weight in the beginning. I will give her credit. I was kind of like the front man of the band, but she was playing every other instrument. And so let's be realistic. Without her, I definitely wouldn't be here today either. But I hope that answered that question for you.
Absolutely, you're a team. And I also wanted to ask you what it means when you ask an entrepreneur to act their wage. I read somewhere about your advice to entrepreneurs: act their wage.
Well, have you ever watched repo shows? These people with these beautiful cars that get taken away.
Oh, I see. You don't bite up more than you can chew.
Listen, I'm not telling you how to spend your own money. I mean, you're going to laugh at the cars I drive here. The car that I love driving is a 92 Volkswagen Cabriolet convertible. Remember that car from the 80s? I think it was in License to Drive with Corey Haim and Corey Feldman. Yeah. And so I love that ride. Car's worth $3,000. Big deal. But I tell you what, I could pull up next to any car in Costa Rica. There'll be some dude there with mixed matching side panels, tattoos, arms. He looks at me and goes, that's a great looking car. Let's switch. I go, you can come in, we can go to the beach. But where am I going with all of this? I collect pinball machines. And when you really know your passion, it's beautiful. It really is, because when I go back home, everyone kind of dresses the same. They wear the same watch and the clothes and cut their hair the same way, and they all look and sound the same. And so I like when people have their own style, and you feel an enormous amount of pressure to wear a certain suit, drive a certain car, and have that image. It's a sign of success. But then again, the other people realize that another sign of success is weathering the storm. You'll see one guy on top one year and then down at the bottom the next year. It's like someone that doesn't have workforce management. They don't have good time management. It's not cool to be busy all the time. You should be able to hang out with Steve and your friends too. So if you do have discretionary income or if you're comfortable financially. It's almost like when you see the multimillionaires like Elon Musk, for an example. He dresses casual. He doesn't have to wear a $100,000 suit and diamond cufflinks. He wears what he wants to wear, and that's fine. And it's hard to explain. I believe that it's almost like the statue of David in Milan, I think, where it's just a nude body, but you're seeing such strength and humanity. You shouldn't need gold or watches or silk to have a strong back and chest and have a great idea and be a good friend to somebody. And I like when people are raw and they have real depth. I don't want to see somebody cry, but if they have pure emotion when they're either winning or losing, or someone they care about is winning or losing, there's nothing better than true human emotion. It's not a sign of weakness if you hug your best friend and congratulate them when they're winning, or shed a tear during the day of their wedding. What do you want me to say? I'm fortunate that I have been able to be me during these years, because I see the game. When I've seen people bidding for positions at a company with backstabbings or coming to knock on the door and say, hey, I got to let you know Steve did this. Yeah, but you don't even know Steve's situation. I gave Steve permission to do this. And look at Steve's numbers. He's our number one on the board. Give him 10 minutes to take an extra break. The guy's going through something outside the office. Thank you for letting me know this. I don't like people like that at all. And so I got to see the game on a different side as a business owner. I tell you what, the most important thing at the end of the day is just look at yourself in the mirror and not avert those eyes. Make your bed in the morning for your own self-respect. And that's some of the core advice I can give to entrepreneurs. But my man, if you have a really good day and you make some cheese that day, go out and enjoy yourself. You've also worked hard for it too. And I think there's a healthy balance of ordering extra cheese or bringing Steve out to dinner because it's on me, man. Let's go. Let's do this. And as I say, me today, you tomorrow. Me today, you tomorrow, because I cannot wait for you to have a wonderful day. And I'll be the first one there to congratulate you, because that's when the cameras aren't there and I'm not keeping score. It's not tit for tat. I'm your boy. Damn it. And I'm going to let you know when you're messing up. I'll call the balls and the strikes. But if you're killing it, I will be there's no envy there. Of course, I want some of that success, but I will be the first one to call you and say, Steve, I am so proud of you. You are my main man. And sometimes that's what you need to hear.
You need positive reinforcement, definitely, especially in your line of business.
It's got to be sincere, though. I can't call you a champ when you're not doing well. But I can give you some Philly guilt, Steve. I can let you know you're better than this and you're out of character. And why don't you say good morning to me? What's wrong with you? And so I'll call you out. Straighten your tie. Comb your hair, Be your best.
See, you do it for yourself. You can't do it for other people. You got to take care of yourself first.
Well, I agree with that. But water does seek its own level. Like in the gym, you don't want someone punking out or just sitting on a machine for an hour. If you're surrounding yourself with your hockey team, like my Broad Street Bullies, everyone was putting in to win those Stanley Cups. And so I like individual effort like Rockies, but I love team efforts like the Flyers. And so I think it goes a lot of ways. There's nothing better than that band of brothers. I mean, those people were willing to die for those individuals and do anything for them because they were there during a moment when they just shared that. So it's not that intense like in war. It's foolish for me to compare the two. But I tell you what, you and I could be at a certain moment where we could make or break somebody. People sometimes remember what a teacher or friend or a bully said to them 50 years ago. Or I could be the person to balance that bike, get you refocused. And just like certain teachers did for me back in the day, they got my act together. And so, I have to pay homage to those people and thank them very much for that.
And sometimes we need people to give us tough love, to put us in our place, because they're not helping us. They're not doing us a service by sugarcoating things.
I agree with that. You may get that from a perfect stranger, which sometimes makes sense. Like on a train, sometimes people pour their hearts out to bartenders. Or it could be that person who's been with you forever and they're going to cash in for you saying, listen, you got to listen to me. You know that I love you, but I have to say ABC. It's not 1, 2, 3. And that holds weight too. It's interesting. But then if you just have the jerk, the person that's the hammer looking for nails, or someone that likes to break your back, and all of a sudden he's like, Steve, da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't know if I want to listen to him that day. It's just another day of you kicking me. So I might not pay attention to the warning signs compared to your buddy pulling you to the side saying, yo, man, you got to pull your fly up. Or something. But yeah, I'm okay with that. A lot of ego is in play too. You might even lose friends over it. So you have to be, you will lose friends over it. Sorry, you will lose friends. And so you have to be exceptionally careful if you're willing to have a heavy heart, or knowing that you said what needed to be said at that moment, and hopefully in time that might come back. But yeah.
And you were talking earlier about, you don't always have to wear gold or be flashy. Take Richard Branson, for example. I didn't even know he was like a wealthy owner of Virgin Air. He looks like a regular guy.
But if he wants to wear it and it makes him happy, yes. But you know what they talk about with diamonds, supply and the cost, and tulips were big back in a couple centuries ago. I mean, things have its market, that they come and they go. It's almost impossible to be, I guess, de moda, in mode, and to be in the fashion. And it's funny, though. Look how people dress. What's coming back is like the 70s fashion, which I love, the bell bottoms, certain styles. Come on, man, give it another 5 years, we'll start popping our collars up again, wearing Vans and Jams. And as I said before, and especially with people with self-expression where you can't change it every day, like a tattoo or something permanent, these people believe in that image, that energy, that expression. And so as long as it's not offensive to somebody, I think it's unbelievable that people love themselves enough to express themselves in a certain way. So yeah, my friend, no Rolexes on me. I don't drive Ferraris or Porsches or things like that. But I tell you what, I'll never have to worry about eating a dinner the rest of my life. I feel like a squirrel that has acorns, which makes easy living, right?
Simple. And also, when you walk around flashing gold and coins, you're looking to get robbed and mugged.
Yes and no. If you go to the Four Seasons, you fit in. If you go downtown minus the mugging, what you're doing is you're really rubbing in the face of people, because that watch that you have could feed their family for an entire year. Now, there's arguments for and against that, but I really don't enjoy sometimes when people are not at the right place at the right time to show their wealth. Because, as I say, they can work hard and everything's great, but a lot of people work just as hard and they're struggling. And so you have to be very careful with that, if that's what you decide to do. But then again, it might inspire somebody to work harder if they see something beautiful. And do you remember the movie The Warriors back in the day?
Stay tuned, boppers, stay tuned.
Oh, I love that. Come out and play Warriors with Cyrus. Do you remember that one scene where they were on the subway and you got Swan and, God, I forgot her name.
And
they were
the prostitute.
Yeah, and they were sitting across from the people that came from their prom, and they were in tuxedos and dresses.
Oh,
and
then when they're all burnt out and they're heading back to Coney Island.
You're damn right. And then when they got up and left, all of a sudden you saw the flower that was still there. Tuxedo to ripped dress, flower the same. And in fact, it was almost more beautiful giving it to this woman that stood by Swan and the boys and got past the orphans than the woman that's just going to forget about that night and move on and marry somebody else. It's just, I read the book. I mean, there's so much symbolism in it. And so, as I say before, I love the Warriors. I want one of those vests. I mean, do you want to hear something really cool? Ajax gave us a cameo. I love cameo, right? So I was getting all my, Reggie Jackson gave us one, Samantha Fox, right? But I got Ajax from the Warriors. And you're allowed to write what you want. I go, please call me a war chief. He did. And you want to talk about electromagnetic energy transfer, man, I got some Ajax there. Yeah, man, that's my point being, as I say before, what was more important, the tuxedo or Swan hanging out and doing what they're doing? And so, yeah, you boppers, what an amazing movie that was, if anyone hasn't watched it.
Oh, it was a great movie. In fact, I wrote a short story in junior high school based upon that movie, putting like all the kids in junior high school making characters out of them. I called it Harlem Wars.
What name did you give yourself?
I don't think I put myself in the book. I don't remember. I have it somewhere in the closet somewhere from junior high school.
There you go. That's good stuff, though.
Yeah. So you're into pinballs. Have you ever been to the Pinball Museum in Las Vegas?
No, but I've heard about it, and I'm definitely going to go visit. Currently, I have 15 machines. My oldest is 1970 Bally's Camelot. The newest is a 94 Data East Lex Action Hero, and machines in between. My favorite decade, though, Steve, I love the 70s. It's the last of the electromechanical years where it's just contacts to clean, not CPUs. The marquee art, the play field was it was further back, a lot of the bumpers and the targets, so you had a lot more of an open play field, and it was the last generation where they would paint the wood compared to now where it's laminates and stickers, so sometimes you see cracks and stuff. And the sound of the bells or the xylophone, to me, gorgeous. And I love them. And my suggestion, I mean, if someone wants a pinball machine, you're thinking they're very expensive, they can be. If you're looking for a named brand or like a Kiss machine, or let's just say, the Captain America. But if you get a no-name like myself, like a Camelot or like a Space Shuttle, NBA Fast Break, mousing around, you're not looking at 10 to 15 or 20,000. I was getting them here for, let's say, about $500, putting another 500 to $1,000 into it just to fix all the CPUs behind the marquee, because those things are 40 years old. The majority of the problem is electrical, and if you can replace certain computer parts behind, it controls the lights, the sound, the energy. 95% of these machines work. It's just corroded in old, tablets. And so it's just fixing lights and cables. But what a beautiful pastime. The pinball machines, it's an incredible experience. So it's completely different from virtual pinball. And so if you want to grab a few and bring them to your house, you'll be the most popular guy in the neighborhood.
Oh, definitely. And there was a trick I used to do. I believed in it, that when I twist my body to the right, I don't know why, it would make the ball go in the hole and I would win the game.
Were you tilting the machine?
No, the whole thing, a superstitious thing. After I pulled it, I would twist my body. I don't know. I would do it when I was bowling, too.
I like that, too. That's funny. A lot of arcades here are going out of business. And so I'm not looking for generic cabinet machines that have Pandora in it, which is like 1,000 games and you can choose. No, I was looking for originals. So I was able to get like Killer Instinct machine and Ultimate Fighter, Mortal Kombat. I got a ski machine here, Alpine Racer 2. Pulled that out of an arcade. Had a couple shooting machines, like a Police Trainer or Maximum Force and Area 51 had those. And an air hockey table. And so they're just giving them away. And I had the space. A couple of my buddies with the truck would go and grab them and bring them back. I got the electricians that could fix them. And so it was a childhood dream. I had a full arcade at the call center for the agents to hang out. So, Steve, they would smoke less cigarettes. It's a great way for these introverted people to meet people from other departments and play and hang out like at recess. They're not looking at Instagram or Facebook. And so I really created a happy medium for individuals. And I saw the difference because it's like a runner in place at a light. You're not cooling or icing a kicker. So if you're going downstairs for a lunch or a coffee break, yeah, eat something, drink something. But that time you could really be increasing that stimulation so when you go back upstairs, you're still ready to go.
Yeah, back in the days, cigarettes and telemarketing went hand in hand. I remember the 100 cigarettes were the best because they were longest. They would burn the longest while you were on the phone.
What was your brand? Merit? or
Marlboro.
Virginia Slims? Only kidding.
Well, I would bum them off to my coworkers. Usually Marlboro Lights or Merits or Camel Lights.
Wow, the smoking of the cigarettes, huh? I remember, I think I had a cigarette on an airplane once back in the day. So, yeah, that does go hand in hand. In fact, the calling floor can be disgusting if you let people eat up there and get messy. That's how you get sick, too. I mean, a lot of the stomach problems is just from the bacteria. So we are constantly, or we were until people are working from home now, cleaning those keyboards. What's weird, we were very brick and mortar pre-COVID. I mean, the images of the call center. Thankfully, my business is virtual now. Everyone's working from home, larger labor pool, everything's in the cloud. But it's different. It's like if you work out at home compared to going to a gym, there's conveniences, but it's nice to be around people, and you work out harder, more machines, more going on. But yeah, it's kind of the difference I see now with this new generation. They completely want to be virtual, and they'll work for a company, but it's not the same sort of connections.
No, it's not. With ride sharing and working from home, there's no human connections anymore.
They feel isolated sometimes.
Yeah.
Their numbers are good, though, my friend. They know what they need to do in order to keep their job. The only thing is that when they're with me and you get an extra 10 to 15% out of them. But what are you going to do? They're lonely. People aren't going on dates and making best friends. And it's kind of sad. Like, I'll speak to my friends and their kids are always on the computer. They're not outside playing capture the flag or Nerf football or riding their bikes. They're on those computers. And so it's kind of fun. I mean, we used to do Intellivision and Atari and Coleco. But then again, you're outside. There's a good mixture of it.
You still have that building now, the 3-story building?
Most certainly do. That's my retirement. I knew that if I had something like that, you're good to go. And so, yeah, we're cleaning her up, have a lot of interest in the building, and we'll see if I become virtual.
Oh, so you and your wife work out of the building and your employees work from home?
99% of the people are working from home right now. What do I have in the office? I got my server room as a plan B compared to the cloud. When we're onboarding brand new agents, I'm just not handing you a computer. You got to at least come in for training 1 to 2 weeks or maybe a month. Then we'll send you home. And just in case something happens to your internet, we have redundancy. There might be an electricity issue. I have a generator and immediate IT support and multiple ready-to-go turnkey computers. So I don't want you to be down. So I still need to have something there to keep the business running. But I tell you, within the next 1 or 2 years, I think it's going to be 100% virtual besides someone coming to pick up a computer to work from home. I see it like that.
Well, then they should come in at least once a month for meetings, some kind of connection so they stay motivated.
Money motivates them. I mean, I can do a pizza party or something. Maybe Christmas parties. It's once a month. Me and you see that. A lot of people now see it as an inconvenience. And
young people do it. Is it straight commission or they make a salary versus commission?
Great question. I do not work straight commission. The attrition rate would be incredibly large and it would be an accounting nightmare. No, we pay good salary. At least it matches Amazon's entry level. Plus I have a corporation here, so I follow all business and labor laws in Costa Rica. So we make sure they get their full benefits. And that's how we compete. Sometimes it's closer to their home, better schedule because of school. Maybe their girlfriend works at my call center. Sometimes it's more lucrative. But my attrition doesn't happen naturally. I rarely fire somebody. It's usually if they're not coming to work, not doing their job, we just have a terrible attitude. Legally, we give certain warnings, and then, I hate to say it, we got to let you go.
But they got to meet. That's how I used to get fired. I wasn't able to meet the quota. They got to meet a quota.
Yeah, but you're so good. They got to blame the coach. Stevie boy, if you were with me for a week, you'd be the top producer, and you know it. We'd be going back and forth and role playing and practicing those rebuttals and doing all that good stuff and playing pinball. And you go, Richie, you're the best boss I ever had. And you're like, damn right. You're right. I am the best boss you ever had. And so I'm going to, because look at your podcast, look at your career, look at your personality. The fact that you're saying that you weren't successful on these things, I'm completely putting the blame on your golf or batting coach. They did not teach you how to swing. That's all.
I blame myself. I blame myself for being too sensitive to the customer's needs, by feeling like I was bothering them, by not wanting to get them angry, by getting them off the phone before they would get it. I blame myself. I don't blame anybody else.
Well, you were definitely bothering them. You called them during dinner. Let me ask you a question. How many years ago was this? 10, 15 years ago you did this?
I made a living doing this from 1990 to 1995. I just keep getting fired from these jobs and go to another one and do it for the $7 an hour.
Look how many years? That's 30 years ago. And so you don't think, besides losing the hair like me, you don't think that you've matured in the past 30 years?
Probably. We'll just have to reevaluate it. That's all. Yeah.
Do you have any old recordings of yourself? Because when I worked at Telemundo, I still have certain recordings or first certain jobs I had, and when I listen, I cringe. It's almost like a terrible middle school picture. When you're wearing Cavaricis and Gerbots and giving yourself a really bad haircut with a fade and lines. And but that's what it's all about, my man. It's all about growing and evolving. And but I'm going to say it again, and I think your audience will agree with me. I'm not saying you have to do this, but if I put you on a phone selling chemicals and the other stuff that you were doing, I'm not saying that you'd be the top producer, but I guarantee that your numbers would be increased in a lot of different areas, which would show size, strength, and strategy from your part, Steve. But don't sell your soul and be a telemarketer. That's what I did for a golden fiddle. But go ahead.
You could easily ended up in the Peace Corps at the rate you were going when you were in college.
That's a good point. But I knew that Spanish was going to give me some leverage and was going to allow me to at least get a job where I could put "se habla español." Just for your audience's edification, I don't do sports books, casinos, stocks, pharmacies, or sweepstakes. A lot of call centers do that. I just try to keep it clean and legal and work with small to medium-sized companies in the United States and Canada. But it's an extremely lucrative industry, but it's very labor-intensive. And it's a lot for the troops. And so besides the games, and since English is their second language, I can focus on vocabulary and grammar and things like that. It's still a large burnout. You said it yourself. You get that one person on the wrong day to say the wrong thing. That FU could have you spin out of control. And I've seen it. I've seen some people just quit that same day because they just can't take it anymore. And it's not the phone call. You find out that they have things going on outside of the office that you and I had no idea was going on, and it just triggered it. But on the flip side, if you can develop these soft skills, you can save a marriage, a Thanksgiving dinner, you can network like crazy and be the most popular guy in town. And it's a luxury trade. AI will be replacing the majority of my industry, but the one section they will not be able to replace is that human interaction that extends empathy. So they'll gather the majority. But my industry will just be more specialists or doing counseling for people so they can extend empathy. But AI will be making this industry more proficient, so there's no burnout, there's no errors, missed work. It'll be extremely consistent. But there's something called the uncanny valley, where once it gets too much like humans, it drops into a valley. People freak out a little bit. It's like when you see things weird in nature, it looks almost too human-like. And so we have that fear of either being replaced, feeling inferior, or just being manipulated. And so have I embraced it? What do you want me to do? I'm not Nero. I'm not fiddling. but I'm also more like Zorba the Greek. Put me on the beach, my arms out, and I'll dance while my ship goes down. It's not me. The industry is going to be doing it. And so at least look at it as a romantic. It's just, I was fortunate to have loved and lost, to have not loved it all.
And I think with the advance of AI, I believe that people might welcome calls from human beings now. People are tired of robots.
What an interesting thing you just brought up. You press 0 to speak to someone when you're frustrated, okay? I also believe there's nothing more beautiful than a painting when you see the brushstrokes compared to 1,000 prints. And so in the near future, when we go to the center square and you see the artist that will draw your silhouette in chalk, or the performer playing their violin or guitar, it's going to mesmerize people. Because they're going to realize someone put so much effort into increasing the beauty of humanity that I'm hoping that these individuals become a more elevated status and people gravitate towards them, just so at least we can feel alive. Rube Goldberg made these experiments with non-electrical machines, and 99% of the time the things don't hit the right way, but that one time it does. You get that feeling, that magic dust, Steve, that you and I would have never gotten before if we let these things do it. Yeah, but it took you 99 times. Yeah, but that's what humans do. That's what makes us persevere. You're going to take that out of us, which is, I guess, okay for a little bit, but then, damn it, you get bored. You start wondering, if you've relived your life a million times, what do you want to start doing eventually? You want to start making it harder because you've lived like a king 1,000 times. So this lifetime I'm living right now, I'm not a billionaire, but I'm also not destitute. I think that whatever rotation of my reincarnated life, I'm having the sweet and the sour. And damn it, it's what got me onto your podcast today, to talk about the highs and the lows of life. But the low really isn't too much of a low. It's just reminding you that you're living.
And you've always been a nomad. Before you were a physical nomad, now you're somewhat of a digital nomad, reaching out to podcasts throughout the world, talking to people digitally.
I was bored when my mom took me to Woolworths in the 70s, so I would walk around by myself. Of course, I'd always be getting lost and hearing my name over the speaker to go find my mother at the one zone. Yes, I was always a nomad. I wanted to explore. Absolutely. It's just, but you want to know something interesting? A smile goes a long way. You learn certain customs. You ask certain clarification questions. And if you can take yourself out of an environment where all the advantages you have don't mean anything, you're just you, then you really get to see your value. And if people, like animals and children, they can tell when something's bad. They have that spidey sense. And so if people smile around you or laugh around you or animals approach you, then you must be doing something right. And so I like a beautiful glow, and I like a nice wave of transfer of that energy. And I know it's kind of philosophical, but what else do you want me to say? I'm still surprised, and I look left and right. How the hell did I even get here? And so I don't think it's textbook. I think it's more metaphysical. I think that the stars became aligned for certain people that not deserve it, but saw it and captured it and didn't let go.
Well, it's also part of the trajectory of your life. You were on a trajectory of slowly ascending to the stars.
I was also getting past an enormous amount of parents' guilt. I had a different plan. I was supposed to be in a family business in the United States. And when I was even younger, all of my friends had their plans. And they say, Richie, you're going to be a Spanish major? That's cool. Okay, hablo español, Ricardo. And that's what you do. You break your back in Philly and you tease. And could you imagine if I listened to all the naysayers and gray believers? It's not that they hated me. It's just people love you so much they want to protect you. It's a mother that won't let you ride a roller coaster. You never get to puke, but you also never get to experience a loop-de-loop. What would you rather do? And so I think a lot of people are afraid of living or taking a chance. I'm not saying anyone's better than another person, but I tell you what, when I go back to Philly And I see a lot of my friends from childhood, they're all exceptionally successful. But they always say on the side, hey, I wish I did this or I wish I did that. It doesn't have to be Costa Rica learning Spanish, but each one of them wanted to leave that castle and slay that dragon and have that hero's journey. And they just get caught up. And,
Caught up in the Matrix.
Yes, yes, they do. Where they just never leave that small town, and that's okay. But when I come home, I miss it so much. But then I'm also, after a period of time, ready to go.
Have you ever read a book called On the Road by Jack Kerouac?
I vaguely remember it. I had to read it in high school. Don't give me a quiz. It was good.
A guy who just travels around. He was an alcoholic, Jack Kerouac, and he wrote about his adventures, like the Basketball Diaries. Remember the whole movie? Leonardo DiCaprio was clutching that notebook, writing about, he's high, he's straight, chronicling his adventures.
You know what's interesting? Maybe I should reread it as an adult compared to when I was 17 years old and I couldn't really relate to drinking and adult, and see if I feel the same way.
Right. Well, I mean, it sounds like you have some holistic hobbies now. The pinball, the cars, the games, the arcade. It sounds like you have a healthy way of kind of decompressing.
Larger than that, my friend. I've been hitting the gym since I was 16 years old, and I'm religious with it. So it's at least 6 days a week. I have a bodega here, so I bought a universal flat bench, free weights, and a couple other machines. Is it a complete workout? No, it's not like World's Gym or something, but I have the extreme convenience of waking up, grabbing some coffee, going out right there, and just start working out right in the pure morning. But I love it. I wish I took creatine and protein powder earlier. If I did it in college, I'd be extra ripped. But I'm glad I'm taking it now. I feel great at 52. I look good for 52. I'm holding my own. I'm still not benching what I used to, but I don't want to hurt myself. But I've learned through the years proper exercises, routines, and things that allow me to enjoy. But this is the workout. It's at least 20 minutes to a half an hour of cardio in the morning. Then you do about an hour's worth of weight. Then I focus on my core for about 15 minutes. And then I got a bag and some 10 ounces, and I hit a bag. And that's the best exercise ever. Boxing. I don't want to get hit. I'm not into that kind of thing. But your timing, your stance, your breathing, your sweating, that's a workout. That's a workout. You feel really good hitting a bag. And I love it. And the majority of my friends are sporadic with the gym, or they do yogas, or they'll do pickleball, or I don't like weights, I'll just do this or that, and that's fine. They come and go, but it's not motivation. It's the discipline. It's the times you just do not want to do it. You just don't want to do it, but you go in there anyway and you do it, and you feel good about yourself. But yes, my good friend, that gym, I can't live without it. I swear by it. It's a beautiful part of my life.
It takes discipline to continue at that since you were 16 years old.
Man, if you got good guns and traps and stuff, you want to keep it. You should love yourself. You don't have to be an Adonis, but as I say before, the body, it's a temple, and we still have youth. And you should do something with it. And you were talking about decompression. Yeah, there's only so many times I can wash my car and play a game of pinball. This is the sort of thing of releasing the negative, bringing in the positive, and making my body good enough so I can walk in 10 years, play golf, ski, lift things. I see, and I don't know their circumstances, but people that are my age or older, and they can't get around. And I want to have a very good quality of life, Steve. That's the most important thing for me.
You ever see yourself retiring? You're going to work until you drop dead.
Oh, hell no. You got to be kidding me. When you say retire, I'm probably going to write children's books, do some consulting, figure a way to keep busy. I don't want the Sunday night jitters still. I know I should have gotten over that, but I think if there's a certain stage where I don't have that sort of pressure anymore, or worrying that Joey gets hit by a bus and won't come to work, and enough of that already. It's a young man's game. Do I see myself retiring if I have the luxury of having more free time? Oh, I'm definitely going to embrace it. Absolutely.
Do you want to travel more?
Definitely. I'd love to do Airbnb experiences. Forget hotels. And I don't like major cities either. I'll be close to them. But I kind of want to be at like some nice suburbs somewhere in a cute little house next to something, a river, so I can see what it's like to walk down Main Street and hang out and just enjoy the four seasons in the United States and spend more time with family. But yeah, it's not looking to do the sort of tourist attractions that you're thinking. My wife and I, we love being out in nature. So if we can go to national parks and things like that, those are our best days in Costa Rica. In fact, Steve, I'm going to share something with you and your audience. When I first started dating, or let's say even courting my wife, unlike the people I knew in the United States that know what Pac-Man is, snow, and the Green Bay Packers, I'm dealing with someone that doesn't know any of that. And so I was in her world. And so our dates would just go out into the rainforest or these national parks. And when we would walk, she would point out flowers and plants. And the coolest thing were edible. She would grab things off the tree like a guanabana, open it up and start eating it. I'm like, I got to marry this woman. And that's what I fell in love with. I fell in love with long walks in nature where we would just... That's when you know when there's comfortable silence, Steve, that it's all good. You don't need to fill it with sound. And so, once again, my friend, it's an adjustment into a new way of life.
Do you two converse in Spanish with each other or in English or both?
After 25 years, it's both. And when she grills me in Spanish, it's like double grill, kind of like Lucy and Desi. So, but yeah, we do both, which I guess is very... cultured. It's fun. Sometimes I pretend like I don't understand what she says, vice versa, so I get to use that too. But it's very nice. It keeps things extremely exciting.
I love it when Spanish women, they do that thing with the tongue.
You like that, huh?
I love that.
Me too. You're so funny.
So in conclusion, where can our listeners find you guys and be aware of you?
Well, they can buy a ticket and fly to Central America and visit me in Costa Rica. We are north of Panama, south of Nicaragua. But my website, CostaRicasCallCenter.com. Send me an email, CEO@CostaRicasCallCenter.com. And if they mention you, Steve, in your show, be more than happy to review scripts with them, give some advice. It's my pleasure to pay it forward for you and your amazing audience.
Well, thank you. Your time is very valuable to me, Richard. I really appreciated meeting you.
I had a great time. I knew this was going to be a lot of fun today. Steve, I can't thank you enough for having me as a guest on your podcast.
My pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You got it, buddy. Por vida.
Yes, para la vida. Sí, muy bien.